I will try to be quick about this. We have a 9-month-old daughter. I work from home part-time, and my husband works full-time away from the house. Most domestic labor is my responsibility. He will cook dinner occasionally. He does all garbage and laundry once a week. Everything else is me. I have no issues with being the homemaker. I don't mind cooking. I enjoy it. I don't mind cleaning. I love it. I don't mind being the default parent. I selfishly get more love than he does. It's the extra that pisses me off. So he will get home from work around 4 and relax with the baby, usually setting her on the couch beside him or on the floor in front of him, while I make him a plate of dinner. When he eats, I feed the baby. I eat after she does. I can't eat dinner right after I've made it. It might be an eating disorder, I have no idea, but it physically makes me ill. He goes outdoors to work on his projects around 6 p.m. Around 8 p.m., he goes and sits at his computer and either games or watches YouTube. During this time, if I ask him to hold the baby for literally any reason at all, he starts asking me to do stuff for him. Heat him up more food, make him cookies, grab him something from his truck, get him a drink, etc. Every single time never fails. Stuff that he absolutely could have done himself before I passed off the baby, or could still do even, while holding the baby. On the off chance that I get to relax, I have at most 5 minutes before he is asking me to do stuff for him. I have told him several times that he can do stuff for himself. His reaction is 100% day mood-based. So if he had a good day, he will laugh it off and start baby talking, i.e., but baby... But if he's had a bad day, he gets pouty and snippy I will just do it myself, sorry I asked, and then never do it himself. So I'm made to feel guilty because he will just sit at his desk with his head hung like a wounded puppy. But last night I was touched out. The baby had just gone 3 days teething and cranky. I was irritated. I didn't want to be touched, looked at, or breathed on. I made a big dinner. I served him. I fed the baby. I bathed the baby. He asked me to make dessert with him, so I do, just to do 80% of the work and not have any I don't like chocolate or ice cream. I pass the baby off to literally go to the bathroom, and he goes, "Oh, babe, can you grab me an ice water first?" I snapped and said, "When are you going to do anything for me?" He says, "I made you a dessert dish." So I told him that no, he didn't actually. I made him a dish and I didn't have any. He then goes, "Well, you're like an extension of me, so it's like you had dessert," trying to be funny because he had a good day. I told him to get off his butt and do it himself. He said, "But I'm holding the baby." So I snapped again and said, "I do everything while holding her. If you're that incapable, then we have some big issues that need to be addressed." He handed the baby to me, grabbed his water, and went to bed. He hasn't spoken to me since. Am I the idiot? My mom seems to think that I should have just gotten him the water. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I'm sorry you have 2 children. Your husband is being a selfish jerk. There's no reason why you need to do everything for him. Like you said, you do everything while holding the baby, so why can't he do simple stuff like getting water? This same dude will be on here in 6 months crying about his dead bedroom and not knowing why. Comment 2. I guess by his line of thinking, you just don't drink water because you can't possibly get a glass of water with a baby in your arms. Make me cookies? Are you his cook and maid? No, then he can make them himself, or just get the refrigerated dough at the supermarket and bake them. Not the idiot, but put your foot down and keep it down. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my update. It's been a week since my last post, and a lot has happened. After that night when I snapped at my husband, things got pretty tense between us. The next morning, he left for work without saying a word to me. I felt guilty for losing my temper, but at the same time, I was still frustrated with the imbalance in our household responsibilities. As the day went on, I tried to focus on taking care of our daughter and getting some work done. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It wasn't like my husband to give me the silent treatment for this long. I started to worry that maybe I had pushed him too far this time. Later that evening, when he got home from work, he seemed distant and preoccupied. He barely acknowledged me as he walked in the door and went straight to the bedroom. I followed him, trying to apologize for my outburst the night before. But when I walked in, I found him packing a suitcase. My heart sank. I asked him what he was doing, and he told me that he needed some time away to think. He said that he felt like I didn't appreciate him, and that he was tired of feeling like he could never do anything right. I tried to reason with him, but he was determined to leave. As he walked out the door, I felt like my world was crumbling. I couldn't believe that one argument had led to this. I spent the next few days in a daze trying to take care of our daughter while also dealing with the emotional fallout of my husband's departure. But as the days turned into a week, I started to realize that maybe this was a wake-up call for both of us. I had been so focused on my own frustrations that I hadn't really stopped to consider how my husband might be feeling. And maybe he had been taking me for granted, assuming that I would always be there to pick up the slack. I decided to use this time apart to really reflect on our relationship and what we both needed to do to make it work. I started journaling, writing down my thoughts and feelings, and I also reached out to some friends and family members for support and advice. One of the things that kept coming up was the importance of communication. I realized that my husband and I had fallen into a pattern of assuming things about each other without really talking about them. We needed to be more open and honest about our needs and expectations. I also started to think about my own childhood and how it had shaped my views on relationships and gender roles. Growing up, I had always been taught that it was the woman's job to take care of the household and the children, but I realized that this mindset was outdated and unfair. I needed to let go of these expectations and start seeing my husband as an equal partner. As the week came to a close, I was feeling more hopeful about the future of our relationship. I knew that we still had a lot of work to do, but I was willing to put in the effort. And then, just as I was starting to feel like things might be okay, my husband came home. He looked tired and apologetic as he walked in the door. He told me that he had been staying with a friend, and that he had done a lot of thinking while he was away. He said that he realized how much he had been taking me for granted and that he wanted to make things right. We spent the next few hours talking, really talking, for the first time in a long time. We both admitted our faults and promised to work on being better partners to each other. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when we both got emotional. But in the end, we both felt like we had a better understanding of each other and what we needed to do to move forward. As we settled back into our routine, I could feel a shift in our dynamic. My husband started taking on more responsibilities around the house, and I made an effort to express my appreciation for the things he did. We also started making more time for each other, even if it was just a few minutes a day to check in and connect. It's been a week since my husband came home, and things are still a work in progress. But I feel like we're on the right track. We're communicating more, and we're both making an effort to be more considerate of each other's needs. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate all of your support and advice. Am I the idiot for shutting down a family party at my lake house after not being invited? My 39-year-old male husband and I were together for 10 years and married for 7 before he unexpectedly died last year. Before and throughout our marriage, his parents never really liked me. I have no proof of this, but I think it was because he was bisexual, and I robbed them of their chance for him to marry a woman and have children. Despite how they felt about me, I was not only always cordial to them, but I allowed them to use my 2 lake houses for whenever they wanted. The first lake house was owned by my parents since before my brothers and I were born. The second lake house was purchased by my brothers and I when the original owner decided to sell. The houses are right next to each other and perfect for large family gatherings. During our time together, my husband's family celebrated holidays and extended weekends at the houses. And it was never an issue because I was at almost each of those getaways. Recently, my husband's youngest brother got engaged, and I knew his family would be throwing him and his fiancée a party like they did for all of their kids, except for my husband and I. But we didn't have a big ceremony or anything, so I can't prove the lack of party had anything to do with me. I also expected an invitation because I was incredibly friendly with the youngest brother, having gone to many sporting events and concerts with him. But no one ever mentioned anything about a party, and when I finally asked the parents, I was told that they weren't doing anything big. Fast forward to last Monday, and I got a text from one of the neighbors at the lake asking if I'd be joining the family for the party. Come to find out, the whole family was at the lake houses with guests and had been for that entire weekend to celebrate the engagement. At first, I wasn't bothered by not being there, but then I got another text from the neighbor one night telling me that mother-in-law drunkenly admitted that I wasn't invited. So I drove over an hour to town with the paperwork listing my brothers and I as owners and showed the sheriff the text message stating I wasn't invited and told them I wanted everyone off of the properties. The sheriff and some deputies escorted me to the houses to shut the party down. The sheriff entered the party to shut it down, telling the guests that the owner wanted everyone gone. Mom and dad-in-law threw a fit, and that's when the sheriff arrested them for public intoxication. Youngest brother is mad at me, but his fiancée is on my side. The brothers and sisters are also split as to whether or not I was wrong. But there seems to be a common consensus that I could have handled things differently. So, am I the idiot? Edit to add, there's always been a hidden lockbox with keys in them. I don't know if anyone has ever had copies made, but I paid the neighbor's husband to change all the locks on both houses and to lock the garage doors and disable the garage door opener. I had to get back home because I have a cat and dog to look after. Otherwise, I would have changed everything myself. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. If you were a woman, I would have advised having a police escort with you for safety purposes. So, I'd say this is a good idea for safety purposes regardless of gender. These people are delusional. The lake house goes hand in hand with having an authentic relationship with you. The levels of delusion here on their part are astounding. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I think it's time to remind your former in-laws that these are your properties, and since they do not seem to think of you as family, they are no longer considered family to you either. Their privilege to use your properties is indefinitely revoked. Then take every key from them or change the locks on the properties. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last post, and a lot has happened in the past month. First off, thanks for all the support and advice on my previous post. It really helped me navigate through this difficult situation. So, after the whole fiasco with my in-laws at the lake houses, things took a turn for the worse. A few days after I had the sheriff remove them from the properties, I received a call from my husband's eldest sister. She was furious and accused me of disrespecting the family and ruining her brother's engagement party. I tried to explain my side of the story, but she wouldn't listen. She even went as far as to say that I was never truly a part of their family and that my husband would be ashamed of my actions. Her words cut deep, and I found myself questioning whether I had made the right decision. I started to wonder if my husband would have wanted me to handle things differently. I couldn't help but think back to our wedding day and how happy he was to have both of our families together. It was a small ceremony, but it meant the world to him. As I was lost in thought, I received a letter in the mail from my in-laws' lawyer. They were threatening to sue me for emotional distress and claimed that I had no right to kick them out of the lake houses. I was shocked and didn't know what to do. I immediately called my brothers for advice, and they assured me that we were in the right and that my in-laws had no legal standing. Despite their reassurance, I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt and uncertainty. I started to question my own motives and wondered if I had acted out of spite rather than reason. I knew that my relationship with my in-laws had always been strained, but I never wanted it to come to this. As the weeks went by, I found myself constantly checking my phone and email, waiting for updates on the potential lawsuit. The stress was taking a toll on me, and I couldn't focus on anything else. I even started to neglect my cat and dog, who were my only source of comfort during this difficult time. One day, while I was at the grocery store, I ran into my husband's youngest brother and his fiancée. I was surprised to see them, and even more surprised when they approached me. The brother apologized for his family's behavior and said that he understood why I did what I did. His fiancée even hugged me and thanked me for standing up for myself. Their kind words and understanding gave me a glimmer of hope, but it was short-lived. Later that week, I received another letter from my in-laws' lawyer, this time with a settlement offer. They wanted me to sign over my ownership of the lake houses in exchange for dropping the lawsuit. I was torn. On one hand, I knew that the lake houses held a lot of sentimental value for me and my brothers. On the other hand, I was tired of fighting and just wanted the whole thing to be over. I spent hours agonizing over the decision, weighing the pros and cons. I even called my husband's best friend for advice, hoping that he could provide some insight into what my husband would have wanted. He listened patiently as I poured my heart out. But in the end, he told me that I needed to do what was best for me and my own family. In the end, I decided to reject the settlement offer and fight for what was rightfully mine. I knew it wouldn't be easy, But I also knew that I couldn't let my in-laws bully me into giving up something that meant so much to me and my brothers. As I sit here writing this update, I'm still not sure what the future holds. The lawsuit is still pending, and I know that I have a long road ahead of me. But I also know that I have the support of my brothers, my friends, and even some of my husband's family members. And most importantly, I have the strength and resilience to keep fighting for what I believe in. Thanks for reading and for all your support. It means more than you know. Am I the idiot for refusing to ban peanut butter at school despite pressure from another parent? This is a long story, years in the making, and I apologize in advance if I ramble. I'm from a small town, and it seems that half the people who live here think I'm the jerk in this situation. My son is just finishing his 6th grade year at school. Let's call him Ryan. He has a classmate, who I will call Liam, who has been in his class since kindergarten. Liam has a peanut allergy. Not super severe, but he has had 2 allergic reactions at school over the years, and was treated with the EPI pen he always carries with him. I've known Liam's mom since the boys began kindergarten, and she's the extreme definition of a helicopter parent. She meddles in everything in Liam's life. We are not friends, but have always been friendly. To protect kids with allergies, the school system we belong to has a designated allergy safety table in the cafeteria, where kids can eat safely, away from items that may harm them. Liam's mom has hated this system since day one, actively trying to get rid of the safety area and instead getting the school to ban food items that students are allergic to. She claims that forcing Liam to sit at a specific table stunts his social growth and makes him an outcast. It doesn't. Kids who agree to not eat specific foods in their lunches are welcome to sit at that table. Liam never eats alone. My son has always eaten PB&J sandwiches for his school lunch. Since day one, it's always been the same. He doesn't deviate, he loves them and likes the consistency of eating them for his lunch. It's easy and cheap for me to make, and I also like that. Ryan and Liam are not really friends, but Liam wants to be friends with the group Ryan hangs out with. Ryan doesn't mind Liam, but he can't eat at the allergy table because of his lunch choice, and the other boys sit with Ryan. Liam's mom doesn't like that. She finally became president of the school PTA and was able to get peanut butter banned for a brief period last December. I admit that pissed me off, and I immediately fought back against the ban, as did other parents. The ban was lifted in February. As a compromise, the school did away with the allergy section and instead made a designated section for kids to sit in if they eat peanut butter. Whatever, fine. Ryan sits at that specific table and is happy to have his preferred lunch back. The problem is, after less than a week, Ryan's core group of friends began joining him at the peanut butter table. Liam can't sit there, so now he feels ostracized again, according to his mom, and she's pissed again. She called me, demanding that I force Ryan to stop eating peanut butter and get him to sit with Liam, so the other boys will sit with Liam. I said no, and that I'm tired of her entitled Karen behavior. Lunch is 20 minutes of the school day. Liam can interact with those boys outside of that 20 minutes. She's blasting me all over town, calling me a bully and claiming I'm making her son feel unsafe at school by letting Ryan eat peanut butter, and maybe Liam should switch schools. Good. I hope he does and takes his crazy mom with him. A few other moms think I should just make Ryan eat something else. I'm not doing that. So am I the jerk? Should the entire school ban a food item for one kid? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. So, helicopter mom got the safe table removed because it ostracized her son, who can now sit anywhere, and created a safe PB table, potentially ostracizing other students, but we'll let that go for now. And Ryan's friend still chose to sit with him, Ryan, and not her precious child. The problem is not the PB. Helicopter mom is the problem. Not the idiot and good on you for standing up for your son's choices. Edited for spelling grammar. Comment 2. Poor Liam. You are not in the wrong, but I do feel bad for this kid. Her antics are only going to make things worse, as other parents will hesitate to include him in playdates for fear of her wrath. You are only the jerk if you discuss any of this within earshot of Ryan. Otherwise, you are fine. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my previous post. I wanted to give you all an update on what's been happening over the past few days. Things have really escalated since I last wrote. The day after my post, I received a call from the school principal. She informed me that Liam's mom had filed a formal complaint against me, accusing me of endangering her son's life by allowing Ryan to bring peanut butter to school. The principal tried to remain neutral, but I could tell she was getting tired of dealing with this ongoing issue. Later that day, I ran into Liam's mom at the grocery store. She confronted me in the middle of the cereal aisle, loudly accusing me of being selfish and inconsiderate. She claimed that I was putting my son's lunch preferences above her son's safety. I tried to remain calm and explain my perspective, but she wouldn't listen. She stormed off, leaving me standing there feeling frustrated and embarrassed. The next day, I received an email from the school board. They had scheduled a meeting to discuss the peanut butter issue and wanted me to attend. I knew this was going to be a tough meeting, but I felt like I needed to stand up for my son's rights. At the meeting, Liam's mom presented her case, arguing that the school should ban all peanut products to ensure her son's safety. She even brought in a doctor's note to support her claim. I listened patiently, but when it was my turn to speak, I reminded the board that the school had already implemented a designated peanut butter table. I argued that banning a common food item for the sake of one student was not only unfair, but also impractical. The board members seemed divided on the issue. Some agreed with Liam's mom, while others sided with me. In the end, they decided to put the matter to a vote. I held my breath as they tallied the votes, and to my relief, the majority voted against banning peanut butter. However, the victory was short-lived. The next morning, I woke up to find that someone had spray-painted "Peanut Butter Unalived" on my garage door. I was shocked and angry. I knew it had to be Liam's mom, but I had no proof. I called the police to file a report, but they said there wasn't much they could do without evidence. Later that day, I received a call from Ryan's teacher. She informed me that Liam had had an allergic reaction at school and had to be rushed to the hospital. My heart sank. Even though I knew it wasn't my fault, I couldn't help but feel guilty. I wondered if I had taken things too far by fighting so hard against the peanut butter ban. I decided to visit Liam in the hospital. When I arrived, his mom was there, looking exhausted and worried. I approached her cautiously, not knowing how she would react. To my surprise, she apologized for her behavior over the past few days. She admitted that she had been letting her fear for her son's safety cloud her judgment. We had a long talk, and I realized that we both wanted the same thing, for our kids to be safe and happy at school. In the end, we agreed to work together to find a solution that would work for everyone. We decided to propose a new idea to the school board, a designated allergy-friendly table where kids with allergies could sit with their friends, regardless of what they were eating. The school board agreed to give it a try, and so far it seems to be working well. Looking back, I realized that this whole situation could have been handled better. I let my frustration and anger get the best of me at times, and I didn't always consider Liam's mom's perspective, but I'm glad that we were able to find a compromise in the end. It just goes to show that sometimes the best solution is one that works for everyone. Anyway, that's the update for now. Thanks for reading and for all your support. I'll keep you posted if anything else happens. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.